So I just finished watching The Alternative Factor. Well, it's official. This is the worst episode I have seen so far, by leaps and bounds. Where to begin? Let's start with the plot. It was completely nonsensical. It had to deal with different dimensions, an alternative dimension sort of thing, and matter, and antimatter, and this guy named Lazarus, who had a really stupid-looking beard. And that was about the extent of it. Really. It didn't hold together at all. There was nothing interesting about the plot to begin with. They didn't do anything interesting with the whole alternative universe thing. A lot of it was just theoretical stuff that they were spouting. Which leads me to kind of my next big gripe with this episode, was the dialogue. It was awful. It was really juvenile. There was a scene in it where two random characters are in the cafeteria, and it's something like, "Coffee, sir? Is that an order, Lieutenant?" And it's like, what? Why is that even there? It didn't even make sense at all. At least in the other episodes where there's been random characters who have exposition lines or whatever, it served a purpose. It's exposition. Yeah, it's stupid that you have to do it in dialogue format, but at least, it's serving. That line didn't do anything. And there was so much of that. Spock just rambled most of the time. I couldn't follow what he was saying because there was no basis to it. The villain, if you will, this time around is a dude named Lazarus. Boring. Not an interesting character in any way, where villains in the past have been kind of hardcore, like the Romulan leader. I thought he was really cool. Last episode, we had the Klingon, Kor, I think was the Klingon leader's name. Whatever. He was a cool bad guy. I liked him. He had other adversaries who were kind of goofy and silly, and that was fun to play around with. He was none of that. He was annoying. Not to a Jar Jar Binks level annoying, but it was getting close at times. There was nothing attractive about this character. Because I like a good villain. I think most people do. They love really good villains. He was not one of them. In fact, he was the opposite. He was just bland. He was the white bread of villains. He was the Nickelback of Star Trek adversaries. So, there's all that going on. My other big gripe with this episode was the pacing. It was so slow and muddy, and it was a mess. Did anybody bother to edit this episode? There was seriously, I'm not exaggerating when I say 20 minutes of this 50-minute episode was spent wandering around. That was it. It was just walking, looking at stuff, and it was nothing interesting. It didn't forward the plot. And they would do these sequences where the parallel universe was colliding with ours, and they would invert the image, colors, and stuff like that. It was interesting once, and I think they did 5 times, and each time it lasts 30 seconds. It was just a drag, and they really weren't interesting special effects. It wasn't like watching, some, even like the end of Attack of the Clones, as awful as that movie is. I will watch that big epic battle at the end, because visually it's really cool. Well, that's about it. I think it's dumb. I think it's one of the dumbest things in the Star Wars series ever. But it still looks cool. Here, it was dumb and it didn't look cool. And special effects aside, they still could have done something better with it. And they used it so much. And it just felt like padding and filler the whole time. So, that's my take on it. This episode was really bad for several reasons. One, the nonsensical plot, the dialogue the pacing, and the padding. Was there anything good about this episode? McCoy. Dr. McCoy was kind of his grumpy badass self again. That was nice to see it, because I think he may be my favorite character so far. And it was nice to see him get to do some stuff, but yeah, that was about it. So that's all I have for this episode, guys. We're coming up on the end of Season 1, and I will do a Season 1 recap video as well. So stay tuned. Also, please comment on this. Send me messages, pass the stuff around. I'm trying to build a huge fan base for this, because I eventually want to do more than just releasing videos. And I want to build a fan base, not so I can say like I'm an internet star or anything like that, but to get people involved, because I want to get some charity work going, and I want to do something more than just, hey, look at me talk about Star Trek. So anyway, guys, I will see you all later. Have a wonderful day. We are being hit by a terrible storm, and they are having tornado watches right now. Fun. See ya.